For more on that, let's bring in Eric Walberg, author and journalist, joining us from Toronto. Mr. Walberg, welcome back to Press TV. My first question, how does Israel's ongoing blockade, even after the ceasefire in Gaza, reflect its broader strategy in dealing with the Palestinian territory?
Well, I don't really see that this is much of a ceasefire. The saying that Israel's understanding of a ceasefire is you cease and we fire. That seems to be the way it's operating, and I don't see that there's really been much improvement. Yeah, and yet the U.S. insists that the ceasefire is still holding, even though there have been at least two raids of killing hundreds each time, and Israel says, okay, well, we'll go back to the ceasefire. So that's their idea, that they can violate the ceasefire at will and then return to it. It's very disillusioning. It's hard to understand this, and Israel's worry about the hostages' remains that are not being returned, or wrong remains. It's very odd that it was able to kill hundreds of Israelis on October 7th through its Hannibal doctrine, and yet it seems so worried now about the remains of one or two of the hostages. So it's very hard to understand Israel's logic, either in ceasefire or in its own evaluation of lives, Israeli or Palestinian. They only seem to matter when it's politically expedient, like now that they want an excuse to bomb more. So they say, oh, you haven't returned our remains properly, so we'll bomb you some more. That seems to be the logic behind Israel's actions.
Mr. Walberg, considering this, as you said, it is difficult to call this a ceasefire. What should we expect from mediators and guarantors of this ceasefire?
Well, we should expect that they hold Israel to its supposed agreement on the ceasefire. And Trump is, it's interesting that he threatened to cut off all aid to Israel if it annexed the West Bank. But he didn't seem to be so concerned about the survival of Gazans. You would think that he would threaten the end of aid to Israel if it just doesn't abide by the ceasefire. But again, the logic both from Washington and from Tel Aviv or West Jerusalem is hard to really understand.
And finally, do you think the current situation in Gaza, the blockade, the aid restrictions, and medical collapse is part of Israel's attempt to ethnically cleanse Palestinians and move them out of the Gaza Strip?
Absolutely. It's not. The so-called ceasefire is really just a continuation of the genocide. It's a little bit slower. They've allowed a few more trucks in. They're not killing quite so many Gazans every day, but this is still the ethnic cleansing, and every day that this continues, it gets closer to totally destroying all Palestinians. Or, well, definitely, Gaza is being made uninhabitable. That also is a strategy of the occupation. Is if you can't get rid of them, you can make the land so poisonous that they will die if they stay there. So that, I guess, explains Israel's logic at this point. So it's still genocide, and the U.S. brokered peace is really just a cover for continuing the genocide.
Eric Walberg, author and journalist, joining us from Toronto. Thank you.